In today's lesson, we're going to dive into one of the most confusing parts of English grammar, the difference between the past simple and the present perfect. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know this can be tricky for many of you, but don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to use these two tenses correctly in your everyday conversations. Let's get started. So, what's the difference between these two sentences? They both talk about visiting London, but they're actually used in different situations.
Let me explain.
The past simple is used to talk about something that happened at a specific time in the past. For example, I visited London last year. Here, the time, last year, is important. Now let's look at the present perfect. I have already visited London. This sentence doesn't say when you went to London, right? That's because the present perfect is more about the experience or the result of the action. Let's talk more about the time reference of each tense. The past simple is about when something happened. You usually use it with specific time expressions like yesterday, last week, or in 2010. For example, I watched that movie last month. This means that when I watched the movie is a relevant piece of information in the context of the conversation. The present perfect, on the other hand, focuses on the experience. It's often used with words like already, yet, just, never, often, since. For example, I have already watched that movie. This means that I watched that movie, but I'm not giving information about the specific moment when it happened because it is not a relevant piece of information. Now let's look at the focus and context of each tense. The past simple is used to talk about something that happened, that is done, finished. For example, I broke my arm. This means that my arm is no longer broken. This example does not mention the specific time, but because we are using the past simple, it is telling us that the action is finished. The present perfect, on the other hand, tells us that the event in the past has a connection to the present. For example, I have broken my arm. This means that my arm, at present, is still broken. Remember, the present perfect is also used to connect the experience in the past to the present time. Let's look at some everyday examples. I finished my homework last night. This is past simple because we're talking about something that happened at a specific time in the past, and when it happened is relevant, last night. I have already finished my homework. This is present perfect because the exact time isn't important. The focus here is on the result. Now let's compare some examples that do not include a time reference or expression. Have you eaten breakfast? This is present perfect, which means that there is a connection to the present. This question is often used when the person asking is concerned with the result at the present moment, whether or not you've eaten. The context could be that you arrive at work and it's still morning. You ask a colleague, "Have you eaten breakfast?" because you're checking if they have eaten at any point before now, perhaps to decide if you'll go to eat together. Did you eat breakfast? This is past simple, which means that the action is finished at a specific time in the past. The time reference is often implied or understood by the speakers. You can use it if you meet a friend in the evening and you are talking about their morning. You ask, "Did you eat breakfast?" to find out what they did earlier in the day. Now, let's test your understanding. This is past simple. The action is finished at a specific time in the past. This is present perfect. I'm not giving information about the specific moment when it happened because it is not a relevant piece of information. Because we are using the past simple, it is telling us that the action is finished. The present perfect tells us that the event in the past has a connection to the present. That's it for today. Just remember, use the past simple when talking about a specific time in the past or an action that is finished, and use the present perfect when the time isn't important or the action connects to the present. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more English tips. See you in the next video.